Continuing our reading in Ereth's Birthday by Avi. Uh, Today is chapter 22, The Return of Bounder. Below ground, Ereth could hear joyful yapping and barking from the kits up above. Part of him wanted to go up and see what was happening. After hearing so many stories about Bounder from the kits, he was curious about him and wondered what he was truly like. But he worried even more how the fox would treat him. While Ereth hesitated, a very excited Flip rushed down into the den. "Ereth!" he cried. Why are you sitting down here? Come on up, it's Dad, he's back. Don't you want to meet him? And guess what? He brought us a whole fresh chicken just for us. Isn't it fantastic? It's the best thing I've ever eaten. A lot better than anything Mom or you ever got us. Oh, come on, look. And with that, the excited fox raced back up to the surface. Even as Ereth knew it was good that Bounder had returned, he wished the fox had not. Ereth was not unfamiliar with jealousy. He recognized the almost forgotten feeling in himself now. It infuriated him. "Oh, you pocket of pig poke," he accused himself. "You're an idiot, a fool, a dope." The force of his own barrage propelled him up the entry tunnel. Once at the top, he poked his head out and looked around. Bounder was stretched out on the ground, forepaws extended, tail straight behind him, head held high. There was an air of muscular pride about him as he gazed down at the kits. The three youngsters were frolicking before him, yapping and growling joyfully, tails wagging wildly. They were in the midst of devouring the chicken, which they must have pulled apart as soon as it was offered. But even as they ate, they kept breaking away from the food to leap at their father, pummel him with their paws, nip at his fur, roll on his back, then rush back to their food, lest they miss a delicious morsel. All the while they also were, as best they could with mouths full, jabbering away, telling Bounder everything they had been doing. They talked simultaneously, paying no heed to one another. Ereth had never seen them so happy. There was endless chatter about tracking down the traps. "There were 16 of them, Dad! 16! They were so ugly and really scary." On they went. How Flip had the idea of making snowballs to find them, how they managed to make the balls, how the balls had worked. There was talk, too, about the big snowstorm and, in passing, the sad death of Leaper. But that talk was brief. There was much more talk about how they had managed to keep everything going. "Mom left us a whole storage den of food, Dad," Nimble explained. "Oh, so we've had plenty to eat. But this is so much better than anything she left," Tumble quickly put in, his mouth full of chicken. The only thing the kits never mentioned was Ereth. Bounder himself gave little response to the youngsters other than a few nods and yaps, just enough to make it appear that he was aware the kits were talking to him. Then, quite casually, as if by accident, Bounder turned and gazed at Ereth. Their eyes met. In an instant, Ereth recognized him as the fox he had met in Dimwood Forest a long time ago, when Poppy had first run into his log. He could not help but grin at the memory, telling himself he had every reason to detest this fox, and that nothing, ever, would alter that. Nothing. "Well, hello, Ereth," Bounder said in a low, even voice. "What a surprise to see you here." "Ugh, nice to see you again," Ereth returned, trying to keep the snarl out of his voice, but not quite managing. Nimble, hearing the exchange, looked up and around. "Oh, right, Dad. This is Ereth. He's been staying with us." "Has he?" Bounder said. "Yeah," Tumble put in as he looked up from his food. "But don't worry, now that you're back, he'll go away. That's what he keeps telling us." Ereth flinched. It was Bounder who grinned now. "Been keeping warm in my den?" he asked the porcupine. "I've been taking care of your kits," Ereth replied sharply. "Where have you been?" "Oh, you know how it is, Ereth," the fox said in his most casual way. "Business, constant business. It keeps me on the go. I wish I had time to hang around and take it easy, like you," he added with a smile. "But then some of us have to work hard to make a living.
Dad,
Tumble said, "Do you want to see how we made the snowballs and found the traps? Do you please? It was our own idea." "Be delighted to, son," he said. "Delighted." He stood up to his full height. He was much bigger than the kits, and Ereth too, for that matter. The young foxes fell back and stared at him with wide-eyed admiration.
Dad,
Nimble said, her voice tinged with awe, How big are you?" "Oh, pretty big," the fox returned casually. "And someday you might be as big, too."
As big as you?"
Flip asked in astonishment. "Could be, if you eat all the meat you can." He looked at Ereth. "We foxes are mostly meat eaters, mice and such."
Come on, Dad,"
Tumble cried.
"I really want to show you how we got those traps."
"Be right there, son. You guys go ahead. I need to tell Ereth some things."
"Dad,"
Flip said. "What?"
"I think you better stick to the paths we made. There's still one trap we haven't found. Isn't that right, Ereth?"
He looked over to Ereth. Right," Ereth said glumly. Flip, sensing something was wrong, cast a worried look at Ereth, then at his father, before joining his brother and sister, who were already heading down the bluff. Left alone, Ereth and Bounder eyed each other with suspicion and hostility. Ereth, to his own horror, found himself wishing he could be so big and handsome and young, instead of being so old, small, lumpish, and covered with quills. "So you've been looking after my kits," the fox said. "Leaper asked me to." Bounder lifted one eyebrow skeptically. "I thought she had passed away." "I came upon her just before she died, Broomtail," Ereth returned. "She was caught in a trap." "Yes, terribly sad." "She asked me to come here. Tell the kits what happened. Take care of them." "Oh?" Bounder said, again conveying doubt. Ereth felt rage boiling up inside of him. "Oh, you bet she did, you lump of lizard lung," he shot back. "Only until you got back." Bounder grinned. "Well, here I am." "Are you going to stay with them?" "Well, Ereth, I don't know if that's any of your business. They're my kits. I think I can manage perfectly well without your intruding." Ereth opened his mouth to say something. He found himself too furious, too upset to speak.
"Hey, Dad!"
Tumble was calling from the base of the bluff.
"Aren't you coming?"
"Be right there," Bounder called back. To Ereth he said, "Look here, Porky. I think it would be best if you left. Why don't you just take off right now? I'm going to be down there for a while. When I get back, I want you gone." "But..." "Hey, Ereth," Bounder said, "face it, it's me, their father, they should be with, not you. They don't care about you. Don't you see you're no longer wanted or needed? In other words, Pincushion, you're fired." So saying, Bounder turned his back on Ereth, and with a whisk of the tail that managed to swipe across Ereth's nose, he trotted down the bluff. Ereth, watching him go, felt as though he were suffocating with rage and humiliation. His eyes filled with tears. His chest was bursting with pain. "You dusty dump of dog diddle," he muttered furiously. "You stretched out piece of wet worm guts. You bottomless barrel of leftover camel spit, you." He was so enraged he could speak no more. Even so, for a while, Ereth remained in place, staring down the hill, watching the kits frolic with their father. Then, still boiling with a furious hurt, he retreated to the entryway, only to realize that was the last place he should be. "I can't go without saying goodbye to the kits," he told himself. "I can't, and there's nothing that idiot of a fox can do to prevent me from doing that." With that, Ereth made his way along the bluff until he reached the cleft in its side. From there he scurried over the bluff, after which he made his way to Leaper's winter food stockpile. Once among the trees, the old porcupine chewed on some bark strips, but quickly realized he had lost his appetite. Instead of eating, he climbed into a tree in search of sleep. In the morning, he would talk to the kits, if they came, alone. That's the end of chapter 22.